Algebra 2 students. I hope you enjoyed your snow day. It was fun. It was nice to have a day to just stay home and kind of relax. Today we're going to start solving quadratic equations. And we're going to start that by looking at something called solve by factoring. So I'm going to go here to this example. And I want to mute Pearson because or Salvas, I don't want you to listen to their voice. I want you to listen to mine. Okay. So in the first semester, we factored quadratic equations, and I told you that it would come back up and we would use it again. And it's coming back up again right now because we're going to use it to solve quadratic equations. Let's think about this for a second. If I can get my... Here we go. When we solve by factoring, this word solve means to find values for x that would make that equation true. When we solve quadratic equations, we have four methods. We have solve by factoring, solve by complete the square, solve by quadratic formula, and solve by graphing. We're going to start with solve by factoring. So do you remember we might have this x squared plus, I can't remember, 7x plus 12. Let's do that. Okay. If I want to solve this equation, I want to find values for x that will make the equation true. This little squared is a hint to us that that can have up to two solutions. It can have two solutions. It might have one, it might have none, it might have two. Can't have any more than two. Right? That's kind of extra information. In the first semester, when we factored this, we looked for numbers that multiplied to 12 and added to 7, which in this case would be 4 and 3. Now, today we're going to add something to that. Here's the factor step. Which means that this factor times this factor is equal to 0. There is a property called the zero product property. Product means multiply. The zero product property says that if you multiply two factors, or even more than two factors, anytime you multiply things together, if one of those factors is 0, then it's equal to 0. So for this factor times this factor to be equal to 0, either x plus 4 or x plus 3 or both of them have to be equal to 0. So our solve step is this. We're going to set each factor equal to 0. Solve this side. Solve this side. And there are your two factors. Okay, let's try again. What if I had before we just stopped with this, what multiplies to 15 and adds to 8? That would be 5 and 3. Now we're adding this equals 0, so we're going to solve it. We're going to keep going. We're adding another step. If x plus 5 times x plus 3 is 0, then one of those two factors has to be equal to 0. So we're going to take the x plus 5 and make it equal to 0. Take the x plus 3 and make it equal to 0. And then we're going to solve this side by subtracting 5. Solve this side by subtracting 3. Okay. Let's do one with a negative. What if we had x squared, make this minus 12. X squared plus x minus 12. So I need numbers that multiply to 12 and subtract, because this is negative, subtract to 1. Factors of 12 are 12 and 1, 6 and 2, 4 and 3. Which ones subtract to 1? Be the 4 and the 3. To make a positive 1, I'm going to put a plus 4 and a minus 3. So you kind of remember your factoring steps. Now, if that's equal to 0, that means either this factor is equal to 0, or this factor is equal to 0, or they both are equal to 0. This time, this would be positive 3. There are two solutions. That means if you take negative 4 and you plug it in for this x and for this x, you're going to get 0. If you take this 3 and plug it in for this x and this x, you're going to get 0. Those are the solutions. They're called solutions. They're called zeros. They're called roots. And they're called x-intercepts, which is an interesting concept. Okay, that's solved by factoring. Let's look at some more examples. This one says, what are the solutions of the quadratic equation x squared minus 5x plus 6 equals 0? First thing we're going to do is factor. I have 3 terms, no greatest common factor. I need, my leading coefficient is a 1, so I can go straight to the parentheses. Numbers that multiply to 6, because this is positive, I want them to add to 5. Factors of 6, 6 and 1 are 3 and 2. Which ones add to 5? Because this is positive, they're going to add to 5, so we're going to use 3 and 2. To make them multiply to a positive 6, they have to have the same sign. To be a negative 5, to add to a negative 5, they have to both be negative. So what do we do? Factored. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. Negative 3 plus negative 2 is negative 5. Now, the next step is to set each factor equal to 0 and solve. Pretty easy. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, this is almost like the one we did. What are the solutions of the quadratic equation x squared minus 7x equals negative 12? Before we can factor it, we need to put it in standard form. Remember, standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So I need to move the 12 over. I'm going to add 12 to both sides. Then we can factor. You remember earlier we found numbers that multiply to 12 and add to 7? Think about your factors of 12, 12 and 1. 4 and 3, 6 and 2. Which ones add to 7 would be your 4 and 3. We need the same sign because they multiply to positive, and we need both negative because they add to negative 7. Then I need to set each factor equal to 0, and solve. So my two solutions are positive 4 and positive 3. What do you notice about the solutions and the factors. When my factors are x minus 4 and x minus 3, what are the solutions? X equals 4 and x equals 3. They have opposite signs. Your factors and your solutions, or your factors and your roots, your factors and your zeros have opposite signs. Okay? Let's see what else we've got here. I think that was all I wanted to do on that one. You have to rearrange it. I think there's one like that on your, okay. Now, the assignment you're going to be working on, you'll start it today and finish it tomorrow, is we have a mystery to solve. The mystery we have is who killed Mr. Quad? And it's not liking what I'm doing there. Oh, it's here. Yeah. So somebody has murdered Mr. Quad, and we are the detectives, and we have to figure out who killed Mr. Quad. If you've ever played the board game Clue, this is kind of like that. You're going to solve these equations. Like it says on your paper, solve each quadratic equation below by factoring. Use your solutions to eliminate suspects and solve the mystery. So as you solve these, when you find your solutions, do you see the ordered pairs that are by each name? You're going to mark those off. Okay, so each time you're going to solve the equation, you're going to find the solutions, you're going to match it to the ordered pair, and you're going to mark those off. When you finish, you'll have one suspect left, one weapon left, one location left. So it was who with the what and the where. So it's kind of like Clue. We got to figure out who killed Mr. Quad. We'll be doing different parts of this mystery all through solving quadratic equations. It's going to be kind of fun. So let's look for an example. It says solve each quadratic equation by factoring. Use your solutions to eliminate the suspects and solve the mystery. We already did one with an 8 and a 15. Let's try. What about this one? X squared minus 16x plus 48. 3 terms, no greatest common factor. The leading coefficient is 1 on all of these. So on all of these, you're just looking at what number multiplies to 48. On this one, what multiplies to 48 and adds to 16. So my factors of 48, I have 48 and 1, 24 and 2, 16 and 3, 12 and 4, 8 and 6. Now, if you don't know what the factors of 48 are, you can use your calculator and do 48 divided by 1, 48 divided by 2, 48 divided by 3, and so on until you get those factors. And what are we looking for? We're looking for ones that add to 16, which is going to be 12 and 4. Okay, so go to our 2 sets of parentheses. X and 12 and X and 4. Same signs, both negative, because we want a positive 48 and a negative 16. Multiply to positive, add to negative. Then we're going to set those equal to 0. Solve that side to get 12. And if you do x minus 4 equals 0, you get x equals 4. So I'm looking for 12 and 4. So then I'm going to go over there to the side and find one that has 12 and 4. It might be 4 and it might be 12 and 4, it might be 4 and 12. The order doesn't matter, the sign does. And so the one that says 12 and 4 is bedroom. So you can mark off the bedroom. Okay, and we know that's not the location where somebody killed Mr. Quad. When you finish all 20, you'll have one person left, one object left, and one location left, and that's what goes in the bottom. Okay. You're going to work on this today and tomorrow and finish it up. And then also you have, never mind. You're going to work on this, finish this. You have today and tomorrow, and we're good to go.